Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center. And today we're taking a look at the best Spyderco folding knives that you can get your hands on in 2019. Let's check them out. Spyderco has a long history of taking chances and pushing the envelope. From popularizing the pocket clip on knives, their one-handed opening hole, and their maxim of constant quality improvement that lets them keep their models fresh. All of these things come together and have paid off with a string of successful models. But honestly, the hardest part about this list was narrowing it down. There are a lot of great models that aren't on the list but are just as deserving of your attention. With that in mind, let's dive in. Now I'm sure you've seen the Spyderco Delica and the Endura, but there's a new knife in this family that we think is going to take the top of the hill, and that's the Endela, which neatly splits the difference in size between those two models. Now most knives that come out today are between 3 and 3.5 inches in length, so that puts this family of knives right there with them. The Endela is made in Seki City, Japan, and it features staple Spyderco design elements, starting with their unmistakable blade style. Here it's made from flat ground VG10 steel, housing their signature round hole cutout for ambidextrous one-handed opening. And this allows for either left or right-handed use without the need for protruding thumb studs. The handles also feature their famous bidirectional fiberglass reinforced nylon. It's lightweight and it features a radial pattern that provides retention both forward and backward, so you can maintain a solid grip when things get greasy or wet. This is a fantastic solution for the working individual because it works well and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg either. To secure the blade, we've got a mid-mounted lockback with a small cutout here, which is known as the David Boy dent. This makes it both easier to find the lock if you aren't looking right at it while closing, and it's also designed to safeguard against accidental closure if you're gripping the knife really hard. All of these elements of the Endela, and the Delica and Endura for that matter, are elements that you'll see repeated throughout the Spyderco lineup. Kind of like jazz musicians reinterpreting a classic riff over and over. This next knife, the Native 5, adds another key theme to that riff, and that's the finger choil that spans the handle and the heel of the blade. This feature eliminates some of the dead space around the pivot that folders usually have to contend with, and it allows for a fuller grip without the added bulk of a bigger handle when you fold it up and stash it in your pocket. Everything else you'll recognize from the Endela. The lockback, although without the boy dent in this case, the FRN, and the signature leaf-shaped blade. And it all comes together for a design that I've said before just might be their best EDC design of all time. It's made in America as well, and also like many of Spyderco's classic models, including the Delica and the Endura, there are a ton of variants, including upgraded steels and handle materials. And this one here actually falls into their Salt series. The Salt series is a collection that spans a bunch of different models of theirs, and they all feature highly corrosion-resistant materials. The blade on this Native 5 Salt is made from LC200N, available with a plain edge or with serrations. LC200N can perform like a super steel, but it's virtually impervious to rust. If you want something more traditional looking, there are G10 or black-handled FRN versions, and this one right here is actually a KnifeCenter exclusive, featuring smooth black G10 and a crew wear blade. One additional thing you get with the G10 versions is we actually have a full metal backspacer on this knife, imparting even more rigidity to this design. For such a forward-thinking company like Spyderco, they still manage to get a lot of mileage out of the lockback, and not just on their full-size knives either. The closely related Ladybug and Manbug knives are just about the most perfect keychain knives out there. This Manbug here takes everything that makes the Endura, Endela, and Delica great and just scales it down. We get that nice grippy FRN, that mid-mounted lockback with the boy dent, and the blade, despite being as short as it is still easy to open with one hand. Makes for an incredibly useful blade whether on or off your keychain. Now the Manbug is just a slightly wider version of the Ladybug, which actually came first. This version right here is our KnifeCenter exclusive Ladybug with pack-a-wood handles and a laminated HAP 40 SUS 410 blade. And it offers a ton of edge retention in a very small package. Those stabilized handle scales give it a timeless look, and in a way, I think this makes it the modern equivalent of the Case Peanut for the ultimate in small knife utility. Of course, they do more than just lockbacks, and that brings us to one of our favorite affordable knife recommendations, the Spyderco Tenacious. Now this knife is made in China, and when it was introduced, it really raised the bar for what you could get in an inexpensive knife, winning the Best Buy award at the 2008 Blade Show, but it's just as competitive today. It features a liner lock housed in textured G10 scales that really scream quality as soon as you pick one up. The blade is very capable with well-executed 8CR13 MOV steel. Now there's no finger choil, but they have managed to eliminate the usual dead space, and they get the edge all the way back to the start of the handle. Thanks to the way they've shaped this gentle finger groove, you can actually get your hand right back behind the start of the edge. A rarity on folders, and it's that little detail that puts this knife over the top and lets it reach higher than its lowly price would suggest. Spyderco have tried their hands at their own locks over the years too, and they've come up with some really good ones. Their ball bearing lock is housed here in an American-made Manix 2, a true workhorse of the Spyderco lineup that covers everything from EDC, hard use, and even combat and tactical roles. The large ball bearing that gives the lock its name is pressed into the tang of the knife by a sturdy spring, with polymer tabs sticking out both sides of the knife to enable easy ambidextrous use, including flicking action to open and close the blade. Now the knife itself has plenty of grip even without that signature finger choil, but choking up allows for even more fine control of the blade on smaller jobs. Now Spyderco have never been afraid to push the envelope and experiment with new and upcoming steels, more so than any other production company that I can think of. The LC200N and the crew wear on the Native 5 is the perfect example, and this variant of the Manix 2 comes with S110V particle steel. This offers very high edge retention, and in this case they've paired it up with their famous Blurple G10. This offers up a very distinctive look, and you can find it on a few different models of theirs, although plainer G10 is an option as well as their bidirectional FRN. Next up is the 1-2 punch of the Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3, also made in America and featuring their famous compression lock. This lock has a tab of metal that interlocks with the tang of the knife, but in terms of how you use it, you can kind of think of it like a spine-mounted liner lock. This makes for easy one-handed operation for right-handers, although left-handed versions are available, and it even allows blade flicking action for fast closing and opening. Both of these models are actually offshoots of Spyderco's military folder, but these designs have actually eclipsed that groundbreaking model in their popularity. Like the Manix 2, the Paramilitary 2 has plenty of grip on its own, and the choil allows for choking up even closer. This version I'm holding features earth brown G10 handles, and actually all of them feature some shade of G10 right now at this moment in time, and the blade here is black-coated S35VN. The Para 3 is a little more pocket-friendly, and the choil plays a more integral part of the overall grip. On this version, we get an S30V blade and some very cool camo G10, although that great FRN is now an option with the new Para 3 lightweight. Next is a design that's been making waves this year that evolves the compression lock, and that's the Spyderco Smok. This is a flipper design, which is something that Spyderco does well, even though they're not especially known for it like some other companies are. It has a really cool square end flipper that doesn't stick out, but it still flips very nicely. The big news with this Smok model is the addition of a button release on the compression lock itself. Not only does this provide even easier closing action for righties, but it also improves the usability for left-handers too. As you can see, I have no problem closing this knife even with my non-dominant hand. You do sacrifice a little bit of edge at the heel of the blade in order to make room for the button, but the advantage, it does create a spot for choking up. Not quite like their standard finger choil, but it's still very usable. Meanwhile, textured carbon fiber keeps your grip secure, with plenty of length for a full grip. And what's great about all of these last few locks, the compression and ball bearing versions, is they provide peace of mind when you're closing the knife, as they keep your fingers out of the path of the blade. Of course, not all of Spyderco's greatest knives even have locks. When they introduced the UK penknife series, they came out with a knife that's been very influential in the world of modern slip joint design. All of these knives fall under their Slip It series, and I think that the Urban Lightweight is the best of the bunch, because it's just the right size for discreet everyday carry and can still get some good work done. This one was made by their partners in Maniago, Italy, featuring an N690 blade. Now, despite being a slip joint, it's still easy to open one-handed. It has a good half stop, and it snaps into place thanks to a strong back spring. The choil is there to give you a full grip, and it doubles up as an added safety feature. Since this is a non-locking design, if the blade were to disengage, your finger is going to be in place to prevent it from closing and causing an accident. Reinforcing the discreet nature of this knife, we get FRN scales, although with a far lighter texture than the other knives we've shown you so far. And we also get Spyderco's oft-imitated wire clip in a deep carry configuration. This is perfectly suited to keeping this knife unobtrusive in your pocket, but ready to go as soon as you need it. Lastly is one of our favorite high-end Spydercos right now, the Drunken, designed in collaboration with Dmitry Sinkovich. This is a full-on faceted titanium-framed folder, with a faceted carbon fiber front, all machined with an intricate wavy Drunken texture. As I mentioned, Spyderco does flippers very well, but this knife does without. It opens just with the spider hole. It rides on smooth bearings to click open very smoothly, and we see S90V steel along for the ride. This knife doesn't really add any new signature features to Spyderco's vocabulary, but it does show that as a company, they have the brains and the technology to execute knives at any price point. From capable budget knives all the way up to grail-worthy status pieces like this one, whatever they set their minds to, they can pull off. So that's it for our list today, and I gotta tell you I'm torn because I couldn't even mention all of my favorites. The Dragonfly, the Chaparral, and the Cat are designs that I love, and we didn't even get to talk about any fixed blades. But I do feel that this list is a great representation of what the Spyderco brand adds to the knife community. But what do you all think? Is there anything that we left out? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and to get your hands on any of these, you can see our full Spyderco lineup with the links in the description to take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And a blade that's still open to easy one hand. And it has a bunch of staple signatures that are staple signatured, featuring staple signature. Can't use that. Can't tell where to start my inflection.
As long as you start.